Yes, you are ready to go.
All right, thanks, Amy. Welcome, everyone. I'm Cheryl from Implementation Specialist, and I'll be talking about our tools line called wsTools. And as everybody mentioned, 15 minutes goes really quick. And so today we have picked to talk about payroll tools. We do have 75 tools that sit on top of Dynamics GP and Winsoft, which sits on top of Dynamics GP as another third party. And so obviously we can't talk about all 75 of those. So I'm going to focus in on just the payroll ones, but all of these, we do have little 2 to 3 minute clips out on our SharePoint site that you can jump out and take a look at as well and kind of see them in action. And so I'll do the highlights today, but definitely if you want to see more of the payroll ones or any that we have out there for Dynamics GP, we would love to show them to you. The other piece I'm just going to point out is we did make a commitment this year that we would be supporting GP as well as our wsTools for the next 10 years. So you'll see the hashtag 10 more GP years. And you'll see that in our marketing information as well. So feel assured that any tool that you buy from us, it is around for a long time, that it's not going away anytime soon. All right, let's dive in. There I am, Cheryl Simmons. And again, if you want to reach out to me, my email is down here, cheryl@iscorp.biz. And definitely we can set you up with a demo, or if you want to reach out to sales@iscorp.biz too, we'll have our sales team get a hold of you. So when we get into the payroll tools, since that's what we're going to focus on today, there are 9 bigger ones, a couple smaller ones, I guess I'll say. So we're going to talk through these again at a high level. And of course, I have to admit, I do have a few favorites in this list. So we'll spend a few minutes walking through them as well. Diving right in. So payroll, year end, it's all coming at us, right? So we got to prepare for that. So a couple on the year end side, one here being 1095 importer. So if you are a customer who still needs to supply to their employees a 1095C, which has your benefit information, you can use this to import it in from, like, say, your insurance company or whoever does your benefits, gives you an Excel spreadsheet. Take that data, import it in using this tool, and then you can print directly from GP your 1095s. Very simple process, will help you out as well. Get it installed, get your mapping taken care of with the spreadsheet, and get that data back in. And again, then it's live in your system for the next year as well. 941s, and again, talking quarterly, yearly, that you got to print out your 941 reports. And this is one where occasionally on the payroll side, you start to go, okay, are these matching? Are these totals? You know, because you see summary totals, are they accurate? So this gives you the ability to really break down those 941 summary totals that you see and see the detail behind them. And you can get it by employee to see, okay, yep, that's what that employee should be. You know, oh, this one's off. Now I need to go take a look at, you know, was there a pay code not marked correctly for what the tax that I should have been taking out for? All of those type of pieces that you can help troubleshoot a little easier. The other thing too is we are creating tables when you go through this process. You see the process button there on the right hand side. When you click that process, we are building out tables to store that data. And so I know sometimes people like SSRS reports, but some people prefer Smart Lists. This really gives you the capability to do either one of those. So just getting your access to that data to do that reconcile, huge piece of what the 941 tool is all about. Next up, this is one, I love the name of it. I call it Bended Max Plus, but it, you know, really standing for benefit deduction, combining those to a max. Because inside of GP today, you can combine, you know, multiple deductions or multiple benefits, but you can't cross over and combine a benefit and a deduction together and put in a maximum for your calendar use. A good example of this is HSA. So if you have HSA as an employer and you want to be able to track that, you know, there is a limit of how much is allowed to be contributed to an HSA, making sure that the employee's part and your employer part match together does not exceed those limits, you know, whether that's individual, family, etc. So this one, again, uses currently what is set up in GP, but again, allows you to bring together those benefits and deductions and meet a maximum together. Pay correct. And I know mistakes don't happen, but okay, let's admit they really do. So this might be where, you thought somebody took sick pay, but really they took PTO instead, and those are different pay codes for you. And what you want to be able to do is record a negative against the sick time because they really didn't take that and they really took PTO. This allows you to enter those transactions in your payroll transaction entry window, where you put that in that negative, put in the positive, and then the next time you run payroll, right, run those through the system and you get your value set correctly. And again, it could have been, a different hourly pay code, you updated the wrong one, whatever it might be. But most, when you get into payroll transaction entry just inside of GP, you don't have the capability to do negative amounts except for very specific pay codes. So this allows much broader capability in order to enter those negatives so that you can get your data as accurate as possible. Payroll handoff. If in your system at your company, you say we have to have a segregation of duties where this person gets to go in and build the check process, but they don't get the authority to print the check process, right? It has that separation of duties. And what this allows you to do is build the process as normal, and then you'll have the ability to change payroll owner and switch over to somebody else who's actually going to finish the process and print out the checks. Inside of payroll tables, inside of GP, it keeps track of who are the users and who's done the building. And that's where you actually have to have a process, a tool like this that will change the owners so that somebody else can continue on and do the check process. So again, for those kind of customers who need that extra security, this comes in handy, especially as you go through audits where you can prove that this person did the building, this person did the check printing. Max usage. If you have pay codes, your sick pay code, where you have a limit to the number of hours that they can take. So maybe within your company, you say, people can only take 80 hours of sick time per year. And then after that point, it really needs to get kicked into, a PTO or a different pay code. So this, as soon as you set this maximum and you're entering in your transactions for an employee, and it hits that sick time of 80 max hours, it will tell you that you've hit the maximum, and then you'll need to do something different with those additional times, as well as entry, as well as during your check build process, it'll do that verification check again as well. So if you're importing in your transactions, you could still use your max usage to tell you that you've hit the limit and that those things need to be addressed before you go through the check process. So quick, easy setup window, but easy to use. Employee status. Now, this is one more on our hospitality side that we've seen employees come and ask us for this, or I should say customers come and ask it for their employees, where they're doing a lot of data entry when it comes into setting up their new employees, and they just want it to default to single versus default into as married into this employee tax maintenance window, as well as your state tax and local tax. And that way they're set up to get the most tax taken out. And from there, they can obviously alter and override it. But they just wanted the default to be coming in as single rather than married. Because if they do that, right, then it's lower tax taken out. And again, just a default, it can always be overwritten when you're getting into the process of doing payroll. Pay Import Plus. I'll be honest, this is one of my favorites. I love this because a lot of times people are doing bonuses at the end of the year, or they're doing pay raises. And again, it could be used besides outside the end of the year, but this is a good timing for this one. This tool gives you the capability to export out your data from GP that you currently have set up based on filters. And you can see over here on this top one, this is the export. And you can say which department you want to do it for, divisions. If there's even, based on your different managers, supervisors, you can have that data exported out into different tabs so that you can give it to different people to do updates. And again, if it's only a bonus that you want to kick out, you could kick out your bonus pay code and have them enter those. But if it's also time for raises, you can say, only bring out my hourly and salary pay codes. Those are the things that we need to adjust. And then we'll talk about importing them in just a second. But once you get that out into an Excel spreadsheet, right, you can give it to your managers or whoever needs to put in the new dollar amount. And again, it'll see just like down here at the bottom, how it has your basic information, current rates, and then there would be a column that you could enter in your new rate information in that Excel spreadsheet. And then when you're ready, all those spreadsheets and all the different tabs can be brought back in using this bottom portion here called pay rate import. And we're just specifying the file, where's the information, and you can see if it had multiple worksheets, it would be listed here, so you could pick and choose which worksheets to bring in. Again, if you want to bring in all, you can leave them all marked. And you can see the data here, and it would tell you if there's any warnings, like, okay, you forgot to set a bonus for somebody. Like if this still said 0 for new rate, it would tell you that. Like, do you want to leave that at 0? And that's what you want to import in. Or, if there's something wrong with the import as well, it would list that as well for something to be fixed before you could move forward. But once you have the new rates in there, and again, you could actually manipulate the new rates in this import window as well. You can say why you're doing the import. Are these, annual review time? Are these bonuses? And put in this information that would also be updating your payroll HR system as well. Now, I did mention that you could just export out like your hourly and your salary pay codes. And then when you import them in, you have the ability to say, do I want to roll down those changes to the pay codes that are associated with that? So let's say on your hourly pay code, you're going to say, I'm going from $10 an hour to $20 an hour. Pretty good raise. But you also want that to update those pay codes that are associated with your hourly, which would be, your time and a half, your double time, your PTO, sick time, anything that's associated to that hourly pay record, you want it to update those records as well. And the same on the salary side. And it will automatically do that. You don't have to have those as part of your spreadsheet. You could just, again, have that hourly salary in your spreadsheet and it would update all the rest for you. So again, very powerful tool. You get to view the data before it goes in. And then once you say update my pay records, all the data is automatically updated on that. So the time in between a pay run, we've have customers who run payroll every week. And so getting in all of those changes on a timely basis is critical. And they can now do this within minutes and get their system up and ready to go for the next week. Payroll state tax transfer. So this one, if you have people, let's say that moved from one state to another, and sometimes payroll is the last one to know, right? Oh, that person moved. Well, then they have some new forms they have to fill out. And then you may have already ran a payroll or two where they've moved to the new state and you need to have the new state tax taken out. And this allows you to move data from, let's say we took out Illinois tax, as you can see on the right side, but really that should be Indiana tax, for that last pay run. And you can say how much taxable wages and tax withholding should be moved from one state to the other. And just click the process and it updates that employee record for you. Payroll reset, this is a big one. As you know, when you're starting to run your payrolls and you run into an error and you have to start over, there's this great big KB article from Microsoft that says, do all of these steps, which include, running SQL scripts in order to get those table cleared out so you can start over rebuilding your check process. Well, not everybody has access to SQL or from a user perspective, right? And they're the ones who are probably under the gun from a time frame perspective. What we've built here is kind of the easy button. As you can see on this screenshot, it is just a button that is clicked to reset payroll. It clears all the tables out, does everything that the KB article talks about. And you can mark to clear direct deposit. Again, if you're starting over completely, you'd want to mark that as well. And then you are ready to go again with your check building process. So again, doesn't require that you have access to SQL or be able to do those commands in order to just get reset and reprocessed as quickly as possible. Payroll rewind, again, in that process of payroll, somebody walks into your office and says, hey, did you get so-and-so's raise? It was supposed to be effective in the pay run that you're working on. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. Well, what you can do is void out that payroll, let's say for Joe, just his particular paycheck, make the change that you need to make, and then reprocess him as part of this pay run again. So it doesn't make you void everything and start all the payroll process. It's just you would pick and choose. I'm just going to rewind this one piece, make the changes, fix it up, and then continue to build and send out your ACH file as well. It's like making things much more easy from a user perspective. And that is our goal with all of our wsTools, is to make them small little things that can make your life easier. They're small little features that sit on top of your Dynamics GP that you're using today. And I know I talked through those very quickly. Just a couple other things I will point out. We do have some specials going on right now. We have our 20-year anniversary coming up here in 2025. And so we're celebrating that with 20% off of our wsTools. As well as we have our user conference coming up here for Dynamics GP users as well as Business Central users. And that's on the Faro campus, Microsoft campus here in Faro, November 18th to the 22nd. So full week long. And we have 100+ sessions going on, 5 different rooms that we're using. And again, for GP sessions and BC. And we'd love to share more information about that too. Let us know and we can send you out information on that, as well as it's out on our website. All right, there's the contact information, and I know I'm up against my 15 minutes, and Amy's like ready to go, but thank you guys. There's the website, www.iscorp.biz. Jump out there, take a look at our tools, take a look at GPUC under events as well, and we'd love to help answer questions for you. Thanks, guys, for attending today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yes, tons of tools to make your jobs a lot easier in GP. So check those all out. And thank you for presenting